Shock and tank your enemies, all while holding idle and group stunning team fights. Turn the tides of battle by CCing barbs, monks, and necros, all while supporting your team to victory. This Crusader build has changed the game for Battlegrounds, Alley of Blood, and Wild Brawl in Diablo Immortal. Hello and welcome, I'm your host Gadd, and today I will be going over this amazing, fun, tanky, and stun heavy, the Folding build. Providing CC immunity, shields, damage reduction, massive primary attack damage, and of course stun locking. This is one of my go-to builds on the best class in the game for Battlegrounds and other PvP events in Diablo Immortal. I'll be going over the skills and legendaries, skill rotation, Paragon, rune set, curse set, Reforge, and legendary gems. Timestamps will be listed down below. Skills and legendaries. Falling Sword. On the main hand 1, Luminous Rain to activate Divinity Rod. Falling Sword does a wide AoE damage and slows all nearby enemies for 5 seconds. Next, on the shoulders, Veil Protector. After Falling Sword does damage, grants you a shield for 2 seconds once every 2 seconds and makes you immune to knockback and loss of control. Fist of the Heavens. On the pants, Scorn the Pawn. Fist of the Heavens stuns all shocked enemies for 3 seconds. This cannot occur more often than once every 4 seconds to the same enemy. Fist of the Heavens is also a type of execute skill, dealing damage up to 8 nearby enemies, and for every 10% of target's missing health, the damage dealt is increased by 25%. Consecration. On the helm, Shatterbang to activate Consecrated Storm. Consecration now creates an area of lightning around you, dealing damage and applying shock to all nearby enemies. Shock is a debuff that increases lightning damage taken by 50% for the duration of shock. On the chest, Daybreak. Consecration now buffs you and nearby party members, decreasing damage taken by 15%. On the offhand 1, Gallows Grin. Enemies affected by Consecration take 22.8% increased damage for 3 seconds. I tested out Gallows Grin and is indeed all damage taken is increased, not just your own, but it might get patched in future updates. Shout out to Half11 for the help and for watching my videos. Conjuration of Light, protecting you and all nearby enemies from damage for 3 seconds. Gaining Conjuration of Light within 16 seconds reduces duration by 50%. Punish. On the main hand 2, Observer. Striking an enemy with Punish takes 19% increased damage per hit for 2 seconds. This effect stacks up to a maximum of 57%. Lastly, I use Meaty Out of Mercy. Punish deals 57% increased damage to enemies suffering from total loss of control. This can be changed to Grimcrack Buckler, while Punish grants Hardened Senses, which increases your block chance by 30%. Blocks will trigger an explosion, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. Skill rotation. For the skill rotation, starting off the engagement with Falling Sword. Once Falling Sword does damage, granting you CC immunity, follow up with Consecration, buffing you and nearby teammates with damage decrease and applying shock to all nearby enemies. Hit. This debuff has a lightning effect around players showing the debuff. Using Fist of the Heavens, stunning all nearby enemies, follow up with your primary attack, dealing massive damage on a stun target and gaining Hardened Senses. Follow up with Fist of the Heavens for execution and additional stun. Conjuration of Light your fellow teammates in team fights for engagement or disengage. Paragon. For the Paragon, I run Gladiator with the added benefit of my savior pet, equipping Cheat Death for a second life at 60% HP every 210 seconds. Hold formation, reducing damage taken by 2.5% for each nearby party member within 15 yards. Grizzly Veteran, dealing 4% more damage and taking 4% less damage from players. First Aid, when health is below 15% life while nearby a party member within 5 yards, recover 15% of maximum life per second for 3 seconds. And Quick Witted, reducing the duration of loss control effects by 10%. For the legendary Paragon skill, Benefactor, for the party-wide shield equal to 15% of my max life for 6 seconds every 30 seconds. Green set gear. For the green set gear, I recommend running a 4-piece untouchable mount bank set for the 33% shield of maximum life and moving unhindered through enemies. 2-piece Vithus Urge for the 30% increase of all beneficial effects. And lastly, 2-piece Banquet of Eyes for the 15% damage increase to enemies suffering from your damage over time effects. Curse set. For the curse set, I use 6 Nettled. After gaining a shield for the next 6 seconds, you counterattack, dealing 40% of your damage to all nearby enemies, and damage is increased to enemies hit by counterattack by 16% every 30 seconds. Then a 2-piece Ghosted set, creating an illusion with 40% of your maximum life that transfers a portion of the incoming damage to it for 6 seconds every 90 seconds. Pro tip, if you're running a 6 set curse gear, have 2 of the same curse properties in the last 2 slots. main hand 2, and off hand 2. So when you enter in a PvP weekly event like Wild Brawl, since these events only use 6 slots, so this will provide a 4-2 per set bonus. Reforge. For the Reforge, I use Trimmer for a chance to do AoE damage and stunning all nearby enemies, equipping stun and knockback resist, and reducing damage from damage over time effects for the 3 set bonus, leaving the remaining 2 slots for increased duration of beneficial effects from Jolt and attack speed increase from Vengeance. A combination of Jolt and Vengeance is recommended by most top players, equipping reduced damage taken from players and reducing damage taken while suffering loss of control from Jolt, increased damage to players, increased damage to enemies suffering loss of control, or increase damage to shielded enemies, and attack speed increase from Vengeance. I'll be sure to try this Reforge setup when I get a good amount of Reforge stones. I just really like being able to resist full skills and the AoE stunning enemies using the Trimmer set. But in theory, the Jolt and Vengeance set combination can make Crusader classes really tanky in PvP events. Legendary gems. For legendary gems, I will give you my recommendations starting with the 5-star gems. Blood Soak Jade, increasing damage, movement speed, and reducing damage taken while under 50% life. Brilliant Consequence, buffing you for 6 seconds, increasing crit hit chance and burning all nearby enemies with a fiery explosion for 3 seconds, all while increasing your crit hit chance to burning enemies. Strive for Blood, when taking damage while below 50% life, increases your damage, making you invulnerable to primary attacks from players and gaining a shield based off your total damage every 20 seconds. 2-star gem, Pain Class, increasing damage dealt to enemies suffering from damage over time effects and movement speed increase. The other remaining slots can be solely on your playstyle and luck in the rip. I have a legendary gem guide I recommend watching if you like more guidance on what to build next after a core legendary gem setup. This build is scary to go up against with the long stun and short cooldown from Fist of the Heavens, providing with the tankiness from Consecration. You can stun Barbs while in Undying, Necros when they are in Borrowed Time, and Monks while channeling Tempest Rush. Stuns have a diminishing return, so stun locks may be shorter or players can be immune. Always make sure Consecration is applying shock to your target before using Fist of the Heavens by the lightning animation around the body or damage is dealt from it. Fallen Sword provides a great shield and CC immunity to chase or disengage a fight. Team fighting with this build is great for turning the tide, stunning all nearby enemies, providing damage reduction for your teammates, and using Conjuration Light at key moments. When stun locking your enemies, Punish deals massive damage eating away at their HP, all while adding damage increase debuff to your target. I run the Eternal gear for Fallen Sword, which summons swords dealing additional damage to nearby targets, and Consecration, reducing all damage dealt from enemies while affected by Consecration. The only downfall is that it lacks mobility and how reliant the build requires Consecration to be up at all times, so choose your battles wisely. Well, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this build, don't forget to save it to your armory. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, message me in game or on Discord. Information will be listed down below. Best of luck and have fun. See you next time. Take care.